I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Oh, Great American Pillow Fight coming at you.
Man, take me out. Somebody just turned the go switch on these suckers and people are moving a lot faster. Something's going on, and I ain't ready.
We would like to take this time to thank one of our corporate sponsors, Louisiana Downs Casino and Racetrack. Since 1974, Louisiana Downs has been the premier racetrack in all of America and continues to showcase the best horse racing has to offer. From quarter horse racing in January to thoroughbred racing in May, Louisiana Downs is where excitement is always at the finish line. On behalf of Jumping Off Sides, we'd like to thank our presenting sponsors, Rubber Boot Crawfish Company. With 2 locations to serve you on Uri Drive and Mansfield Road, don't forget to ask about the 5-pound box special. Tell them Jumping Off Sides sent you.
Now, from Suite 11 at Louisiana Downs Casino and Racetrack in some basement in rural Central Florida, it's the Jumping Off Sides Podcast Network. Here's your host, Chance, JD, and Mike.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Episode 35 for the Florida Gator fans. It's the Neil Anderson episode, 35, Chicago Bears. But we've got JD back in studio. Now, we are with our MP, missing piece, Mike Pearson. He's heavy on that job tonight.
Yeah.
He got called out. Big meeting, you know.
That's a good nickname for him, MP, missing piece.
Yeah, because he won't answer the phone.
Yeah.
But instead, we were blessed with our man right here. You see him on the screen. Hey, we get to watch this guy every morning in his little tag on Pod Up with Shane Matthews. Every morning it says, man of many hats. Look at this hat tonight. A Texas Longhorn man. I got to introduce you to our guy, Corndog, John Cornell.
We got the whole Final Four, Chance, JD. We got the OHIO. Usually when I hear somebody say OH, I say NO. And then we got these boring ass bitches right here, Penn State.
Yes.
We got the Catholics. You know, I'm Catholic, so I can't get too pissed at them, even though I don't like the fact that they don't play in a conference. They're sanctimonious bores. And then hook them. I wouldn't mind seeing the newest member of the SEC crack a bottle and celebrate on January the 20th or whatever the hell it is.
And shut them freaking Yankees up. They have been massive shit.
I tell you, it's kind of funny. We've got Florida Gators everywhere, and yet you're representing LSU. Chance has got the TCU Frogs, and I'm all about Sarkisian. I got my Miller Lite. I got my peanut butter whiskey shot. I got my 5 hour. I got my 5 hour energy so I can stay awake here on a Wednesday night. I've almost lost track. I got Alabama whipping South Carolina's ass over here.
Yes.
I got Ole Miss trying to get it done in Arkansas over here. And I put money on UConn over here, and they're losing to Villanova. So I'm off to a great start, guys. Great to be with you.
A handicapper's dream
right
over your right shoulder.
Sir.
I love that. Speaking of that, quarter horses start tomorrow here at Louisiana Downs, where action is always at the finish line. But, JC, you got the right handle right there. I love it.
That's awesome.
And I love the screwball. You got it all going on for you. Yeah, there you go.
We'll hit this tomorrow.
There you go.
What was it he was feeding me at the golf course? He did that shit on purpose. Like, we were kicking their ass on the front nine, and then all of a sudden he started feeding me Fireball. Oh, JD, come over here and take one of these shots with me.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was pouring his out and putting sweet tea in it or something where it's the same color.
Maybe he's just a professional.
He might be. He hustled us because I played like shit on the back nine.
Yeah, that didn't go really well for the visitors. And then, of course, we had the Florida LSU game the next day. And I know you enjoyed the atmosphere and the environment before the game. But then Chance got the last laugh when his Gators just smoked that ass.
They did that. God.
But hey, it's not your fault, man. I mean, LSU, they just couldn't block that night. And I think James and Tyreek had 7 sacks or 6 sacks, and I don't think LSU's offensive line that day or going into that game, I don't think LSU's offensive line allowed 7 sacks the whole season there, dude.
Yeah, I think they had allowed 6 the whole season, maybe 7, 6 or 7, one of the two.
Tyreek Sapp and Shamar James, I think, combined for 7 sacks alone.
Yep.
Yeah. Poor Garrett. I mean, Garrett he's a good kid. He's a Buchholz Bobcat from Gainesville. His dad, Doug, was a coach at Florida, I think, when McElwain was here. And Garrett's a good kid. My son knows Garrett from high school. And, he's done great. I'm glad he's staying at LSU for another year. I think they're going to be very good next year. Well, LSU's going to be they're every year they've got the athletes. They just got to find something to keep giving them an identity. And I think Nussmeier just has to not throw it to the other team, basically.
Yeah, he won't. They'll come back together next year. Their receivers will have enough.
I think everybody down here in Gainesville's thrilled. I mean, everybody's fired up with the way it finished for Florida and Billy. What a turn of events from when he was basically circling the drain. And after the A&M game, everybody wanted him out, as you know. And now he's really recovered. It's like the great reclamation project. And they end up winning 8 games with that sloppy bowl game against Tulane. They had no players. And they finish 8-5, with the recruiting and the transfer portal and some of the successes they've had here in the offseason. People are fired up for Florida football. And I don't know about you, but if you watch that basketball last night, what they did to Tennessee was absolutely criminal. And, the Gator basketball team is no joke, dude. That kid's got kid. He looks like he's an 17. He's a sophomore in high school, but he's a good coach. And Ty Golden's got these guys really battling defensively, offensive boards, running up and down the court, hitting shots, scoring 100 points on the road at Kentucky, even though they lost. Look, if we lose scoring 100 points, that's fine. That means they made every shot. But when you score like they're scoring, and the way they punked Tennessee last night, think about the postseason because it's going to be a good year for Florida if they stay healthy.
I saw a stat today on Facebook that said that Florida is the first Division I program to beat a number 1 team in both men's basketball and football by 30 points. That's pretty freaking awesome.
I saw that too on X.
Yeah.
Let's just pop one right now.
There you go.
The Gators. I mean, you don't take Tennessee to the shed like that, dude. And nothing against the way Florida played, no problem with that. But Tennessee, if that's the number 1 team in the nation, I'm an astronaut, dude. There's just no chance that you can tell me that's one of the 5 best teams in basketball at this point. They may end up that way, but today, January the 8th or whatever, they are not one of the 5 best teams in basketball. They couldn't throw it off a barn, bro. They're terrible.
Yeah, it didn't look like it, but
yeah, they were cold.
To be number 1, I mean, I don't know. I've always kind of been under the same mindset, even when Rick Barnes was at Texas. I mean, he had some really good teams there, and then all of a sudden they get to the tournament and they never win the games they're supposed to win.
Shit the bed.
They shit the bed a lot.
They just crump. I don't know what it is with Tennessee in the tournament, but you're right about that. Barnes has got a lot of wins, but I don't think he's won anything else. He's not a championship winning coach. He's got a lot.
Has he ever made the Final Four?
He
was
he
close
made it
with
Tennessee?
Durant, wasn't he?
I don't know.
Texas.
Maybe. I don't know if they made it or got beat in the final. I don't know if he's ever made it. I'd have to go back and look at that. I'm not 100% sure on that.
So. Well, right now your boy Beard's got Mississippi rolling.
Yeah.
Chris Beard.
Oh,
they fired him in Texas, and then Texas admitted that he did nothing wrong, which he assessed. He proclaimed all along when he got fired at Texas that there wasn't any abuse or any kind of wrongdoing, but they fired him anyway. And then they admitted later that, yeah, he's free and clear. And Ole Miss, they jumped on him. And right now, Ole Miss is jumping on Arkansas, and Alabama's just embarrassing South Carolina. SEC is so good in basketball. I don't know where to start. I mean,
another one. Mike White got a big win last night against Bruce Pearl, right, at Auburn?
no, Auburn beat the Longhorns.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, Georgia.
And you're thinking of
Kentucky.
You're
Georgia
thinking
beat
of Mike.
Kentucky,
You're right.
Yeah.
Georgia somehow, who couldn't throw it in the ocean against Mississippi, lit it up against the Big Blue Nation, which it didn't bother me to see that either.
No, me neither. And who knows what Mike White will actually do there. I mean,
he was an excellent coach at Louisiana Tech, man. I had season tickets. I went to every freaking home game for about 3 or 4 years. And, I mean, they were exciting to watch, you know.
Yeah.
And
never could make
I
the
kept
tournament.
telling Chance, well, I mean, they lost 2 games one year. They were like 30-2 and lost the championship game of the tournament and didn't get in and had some really good wins. Should have gotten in, you know. And that was before the play-in game. I think if they would have had the play-in game, then they'd have made it. But
and you know, funny thing, JD, is that at Florida, people bitched and moaned about how boring his offense was. Nobody really jumped on Mike White as the savior of Florida basketball. And I don't know if he got a fair deal or not. He always had injuries and problems, you know, that handicapped some of their depth. But they ran him out of here. And this guy, Strickland, who's pissed off everybody in Gainesville because they were kicking students out of seats to allow $35 general admission tickets to be filling the lower bowl because the students here at Florida haven't returned back to school from the holiday break. God knows only when they'll ever learn anything around here if they don't even show up. But here it is, January the 8th, and these kids are not back. Is it the 8th? What the hell is it?
Yeah.
It's
Today's
the 8th. And the students are not back in town. And it's like, what are they doing? Where have they been for a month? But nevertheless, they were booting students out of the student section for some reason. So the general admission ticket. Anyway, it was a nightmare, public relations nightmare for your boy Strickland. And he tried to.
Any more?
Huh?
Like he needed any more public relations.
Right, like he needs any more. But lucky for Strickland, Napier won. They beat LSU, they beat Mississippi, and they won the Florida State game, and of course the bowl game. So his seat's gotten a little cooler, and it's not that bad. But that was just a PR disaster, if you ask me. You don't kick students out of their seats so you can sell freaking $35 tickets. My God, how bad is it? Is the bank account that shitty that you got to sell general admission tickets for $35?
Yeah,
and you got to boot the kids who basically go to school at this damn place? I mean, I thought that was a bad look, but the team's great. Right now, he's down playing great basketball.
Yeah.
If they get beat there last night, it gives everybody something to really raise hell about.
That's right.
With the rowdy reptiles, so to speak. But another thing, moving backwards to Mike White with that, think about the pressure he had. He took over for Billy Donovan. You know, that was nearly impossible.
Easy. Yeah.
It's like De Beer taking over for
Saban,
you know, and not to compare those two in the same light, but you're talking about a back-to-back national champion winning coach, a guy that's going on to the NBA, and you're taking over for him from a small school like Louisiana Tech. So he it was a bad situation for him.
I mean, it's a tough act to follow, right? And Billy is revered highly here. Obviously, they named the court after him. His name, his signature is on the court. So that's he's a legend here for sure. But I tell you, he sucks in the NBA. I mean, his teams are absolute trash. The Bulls are trash. He couldn't get it done with Durant and OKC.
Yep.
It's hard to understand how he's not winning there. What he had in Oklahoma, but the Bulls stink. I mean, they're just bad football.
You think he comes back to college?
I mean, I think that's what he's meant to do.
Buy out and get the hell out of
Spurrier never could get it right in the NFL. He spent 2 years at Washington. It was an abject failure. And Lou Holtz failed when he went to the Jets.
Yep.
Saban was with the Dolphins. They were nothing but average. It's just some guys just aren't cut out for that job. It's a very different job. You're dealing with probably what a lot of the coaches today are dealing with general managers, free agency effect, essentially, players making more money than your entire coaching staff, this kind of bullshit. And so it's got to be tough for college coaches today. I think it takes a special type of coach, and that's essentially why Saban hung him up. He said, this is not the game I've been owning for 17 years.
Yeah. Well, I think, from Saban's standpoint, like you said, I mean, he had it carved out to where people wanted to play for him because they knew, number one, you were going to win a championship if you came to Alabama. Number two, you were going to probably make it to the NFL if you were a starter. The whole transfer portal really started changing everything. Whenever you were able to transfer, and then the NIL comes along, and it's like, boom, the whole model that we've known for the last 20 years is gone. And I think that for him, and you think about it being in his 70s.
Not the eye.
I hate these guys. I fucking hate them.
Dot that I, baby.
All I'm thinking about is 52-24, and they could have scored as many as they wanted in 2020. But I'm sorry, JD. I didn't.
No, you're good, man. I mean,
I want to finish your point there, dude. I just had to get that Longhorn shit off me.
Well, I just think that for Saban being in his 70s, he was kind of to a point like, with the NIL coming in and all this, you're starting completely over as a coach. It's like you're a new coach. The energy that it's going to take to work at this 365 days a year, it's kind of, he got his program to where he wanted it, and it was kind of on a roller coaster. Not roller coaster, but it was on a train, and it was just plugging along. And then all of a sudden this hits, and boom, it's like they're derailed. And so then you got to put it back on the tracks, and then it's like now you're constantly having to put it back on the tracks because it's always going off because this guy's transferring, or you don't have the depth over here that you were able to keep for all those years, And I just think for somebody his age, it was like, I mean, fuck it, let's go retire and live on the lake and drive.
That's what he did. He couldn't do it.
I don't blame him. Yeah. He got probably just as much money from ESPN than he did coaching Alabama.
Yeah.
What was his contract with ESPN? Did it ever come out? I mean, there's no telling. I bet he's getting $50 million for 5 years. I mean, he's probably getting what he made in Bama, $10 million a year. Wouldn't you think?
I mean, he's working his tail off. I mean, he didn't. You said that about the lake. He probably gets to go there a couple of days
during the summer. I mean,
the summer, yes.
But I mean, you think about this though. He was getting $10 million a year from Bama to work all year long. Now he's getting $10 million a year from ESPN to work 4 months.
Is that what he's getting? Is he really getting that?
I would assume. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. Let me look it up.
Well,
I really don't know. But
I know McAfee gets somewhere around 20, but he works every day.
Right.
Hell, I'd work twice every day for that kind of money.
Yeah, for sure.
And do it for about a year and then say good luck.
That's a lie. You're a well.
It's just such an asinine figure, but this is what the world we live in, So if I have these guys, if you're a recruit, and I have these 4 schools, and you're not a recruit, let's say you're just a degenerate gambler,
right?
And hopefully you are.
Absolutely.
And we've got tomorrow night. We've got these 2 guys right here battling. Which way are we going with that? And what did you do on FanDuel? Or what do you do in Louisiana? Is it DraftKings?
We use Caesar Sportsbook. We have all that at our disposal. But
Caesars.
One of our
Caesars.
partners is Caesars.
Caesars, we're on the Hard Rock app here in Florida. It's the only one. They got a monopoly, but it's better than nothing. God bless them.
Right.
But you've got Caesars. So where are you going with this game? I need some help on it. I'm going to be in the great state of Mississippi on Friday. I'm going to be down in Biloxi at my home away from home, the Beau Rivage.
That's right.
That place rules. And my MGM rewards got me all hooked up there. And we're going to go and sit in the smoke-free sports bar.
Good. Yes.
And we're going to be live wagering on BetMGM. I just basically withdrew from Hard Rock, and I'm swinging it right over to BetMGM for the weekend. So give me some dap on these 2 right here, because my mother's a devout Catholic. We went to church the other day, and she said, "The Holy Mother, how dare you bet against the Holy Mother, you atheist?" And I said, well, listen, I'm betting with the Holy Mother. I like Penn State in this game, actually.
I do
because,
too, man. I'm a big Notre Dame fan.
Yeah.
Deal, but not. I mean, not.
Give me Penn State.
Yep.
The thing is that you've got, I think, offensively more weapons and a quarterback who can throw the ball a little bit better. And you've got two running backs though, rather than one. You've got a tight end who beats everybody in single coverage. I don't know if Notre Dame runs zone or if they play man-to-man mostly, but nobody is covering Tyler Warren. He's catching everything that's thrown at him. Aller is not a liability right now. And those two running backs, Singleton and the other guy. And then if they get the kid on defense, number 11, Abdul somebody, that kid is just he's like Lawrence Taylor off the edge. So I think Penn State has a little bit more weapons than Notre Dame, but again, you're betting against the Holy Mother. So
Hail Mary, Mother of God, pray for us.
Yes, that's it. Notre Dame means lady, Holy Lady. That's what it means. That's what Notre Dame means.
Well, I'm taking Notre Dame.
You're going with Notre Dame?
I am taking Notre Dame.
Why is that, Chance?
Well, it's more of just a heart thing. I like Marcus Freeman and Riley Leonard.
You do like Riley Leonard.
I do like.
He's tough. Like that kid plays with a lot of heart.
I'm gonna stay with them. The Northern Illinois loss at the first of the year, I didn't bet on them all year long because I was like, this is the week. They are who they lost, and I still don't know how they lost that game.
Well, you got a new offensive coordinator playing with a first-time QB. I mean,
well, coming off an A&M
it's
win,
different, yeah,
I guess so. But so I'm gonna stay with Notre Dame with that. I do like Penn State, how they're built, and if they win, it does not hurt my feelings one bit. And I think it's good for James Franklin. What did we hear after the Ohio State game? Oh, he can't win the big game. He's garbage, But all they've done is just win. So, but give me Notre Dame or give me death in that game.
Well, did you hear him today at the press conference? It may have been today or it may have been yesterday. And by the way, it might be like 50 degrees in Miami. They're going to be canceling school down there with the 50-degree weather in Dade County. I mean, it's worse than a hurricane, for God's sakes. How cold it is in Miami, but it's at a great place. Where the Dolphins play in that stadium. It's a great place to watch a football game. And his press conference was interesting because he said, with Marcus Freeman sitting literally right there next to him, that it's bullshit that Notre Dame doesn't play in a conference. It's bullshit that they don't play in a conference championship game, and that basically everybody should play either in a conference game or not play in a conference game. And Notre Dame gets to sit on their ass while everybody's kicking each other's ass up and down the field in their conference championship games. And even though Notre Dame doesn't get to be a top 4 seed, we saw what that was worth, basically nothing. And they get to sit on their asses and wait until they're the 5 seed, as it happened this year, because they only lost one game. And what do you know? Here they are in the semifinals, looking pretty good against Indiana and looking pretty damn good against it wasn't Boise, but Georgia. So, I mean, Marcus just took it. He just sat there and listened to it. But I kind of agree with Franklin where he says basically they've got an unintentional advantage not having to play in a conference championship game.
Well, that leads me to this. Do you think that now with the playoff format, that the way it is, that they're going to eventually do away with the conference championship game? I don't think so, because there's way too much money in it.
That is right. And if you've ever been to the SEC,
controls all of it. So
right. If you've ever been to the SEC championship game, which I've been to about 6 times, it is a spectacle. It is a great event. It is intense. It is as good as any playoff atmosphere you'll ever see. And when Alabama and Georgia get after it, or in the old days it was Alabama and Florida in the 90s, or no, early, it was in the 90s when Alabama and Florida played a bunch. And, it's an exciting game in Atlanta in December, but I don't know if it's getting watered down now with these playoffs. And I think after this year, 25-26, we may have an expansion to 16 teams. It's going to further dilute these conference championship games, and eventually these coaches are going to say, this is all BS. Why are we playing in these conference championship games when it really is no different than the SEC baseball tournament in Birmingham now?
Yeah.
It used to matter because we had a 2-team final game in BCS, or we had a 4-game final, semifinal, and final tournament in the college football playoffs. Now that we've gone to 12 teams, okay, conference championship game, a little meaning there, a little meaning here, there. But when we go to 16 in 2 years because they just can't help themselves, they're going to do it. I don't know if I don't know about these conference championship games, but you're right, JD. It is about money. It's very much about money. So
Yeah, but they're going to get that money also.
they are.
And they have that 16 teams in there.
That's right.
Hopefully it's going to cancel out the conference championship.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. That's right. Yeah.
So,
So who you take? So did you give me a pick or what? Oh, you said Notre Dame.
Damn it, I said Notre Dame.
Okay.
Notre Dame is a 1.5 point favorite.
So what do you do?
So you're going to take Notre Dame to cover?
Yeah, I absolutely am because they're going to win. They're going to cover.
Okay.
Yep.
What about you, Jay?
I'm going to buy the hook to where it's just one
I'm
point,
taking the
though.
Nittany Lions. I think that they played a hell of a tough schedule.
Yeah.
In my opinion, they played the top 2 teams in the country. They played Ohio State and they played Oregon. Now, Ohio State made Oregon look like little girls, playing a middle school team. But I'm going to tell you this. I think that the Ohio State fan base, the way they treated the team after they got beat by Michigan and they didn't make the conference championship game, I swear, I feel like, Ryan Day went in there and was like, you know what? Fuck everybody. Like, this is y'all against our own fans. This is y'all against everybody. So you have to go out there and prove it. And I tell you what, the 2 games they played, I thought when they played Tennessee, I was like, man, Tennessee they don't have any business being in this conference, in this playoff. Which honestly, I kind of still feel that way. Tennessee shouldn't have beat Florida. Florida had them beat. Like, how the hell did y'all lose that game?
They had them beat.
Had the ball inside the 20-yard line 3 times and had 0 points. And they took it to overtime. You win that game, Tennessee's not even in the equation. Right. Maybe Ole Miss gets in at that point. Maybe Bama, which it looks like Bama didn't belong, But maybe South Carolina, which got beat by an Illinois team. So, to be honest, the SEC's kind of looking a little shitty this year. And so, I don't know. I just think that Ryan Day has got his team playing at a superb level. I think Oregon was really that good. But, Penn State's lost to 2 of them.
Well, if these bastards play like they did against Oregon and Tennessee, they don't lose to anybody. But if they play like they did against Michigan and shitty Nebraska, then listen, it's all about Will Howard, right? I mean, he's got to throw for 200-300 yards. Those wide receivers are NFL players. Those are Sunday players. If they get the ball to him, if he gets protection, if he's accurate, they're not losing. But if he plays like they did against Michigan, or Nebraska, and he only had 100 and something, 70, 80 yards against Penn State, then I think Texas is absolutely live in this game. And you're going to really hope you take the 6 points or even better, the money line on that situation. They are going to have 75. Jerry World holds 92,000 fans. I've been there 6 times. Yep. They're going to have 75,000 fans jumping in there wearing the burnt orange. And Texas Live is right next to it. It's right across the parking lot. It's the best pregame spot, bar none, on earth. If you don't mind spending money. And if you do mind spending money, you wouldn't go anyway. So that is great. The Texas fans are great. And I'm just absolutely convinced that if they can get to Will Howard, that's all they got to do. Now, if Will Howard has time to pick them apart, forget it. It's lights out, and those fans will be hauling ass. Ohio State will bring a lot of people there, but this is a home game for Texas. Don't be mistaken. This is a home game for the Texas freaking Longhorns. So this is a home game. It's a home game.
Yeah. Ohio State's going to find out. Home game for Texas. It's like whenever they played in the Superdome against LSU. It's a home game. I don't care where you're at.
That's right. I remember that game. Somebody was going to have their ass kicked that night.
Yep.
And it was Ohio State.
Yep.
And they got a history of losing their ass in the Sugar Bowl to SEC teams.
Yep.
But This is a different animal. I just think, you're talking about a game in Dallas. Now, the big story, of course, in Texas and in Dallas is obviously the weather with the snow and the fact that the Texans don't really handle snow very well. And why would they? It's hotter than hell in Dallas most of the time. But this is a bad one. I mean, they're going to get 6 inches of snow in many of the northern counties of North Dallas. The good news is that stadium is in the southwest part of town called Arlington. It's a real shithole, but it's in a good area for football fans to come and get the hell out. Six Flags is there, and like I said, the Texas Live is phenomenal. And where the Rangers play, the Globe Life Field is a great place. But that's about all Arlington has. And Jerry got a tax deal and put a stadium there. But I think that the weather should be cleared up. They're saying that I-35 and some of the roads coming out of Dallas into Arlington should be cleared up. It's just going to basically be about fans being able to get there safely, workers being able to get there safely. The teams are literally staying in hotels. They can walk to the football stadium. So I think they'll get it off on Friday. Luckily, that game's not tomorrow night, or it'd be trouble, I think. They'd probably have to push it to Friday.
Heck, me and Chance got caught in it a couple years ago. We went to the American, the rodeo they have there. And
right.
During the rodeo, we started getting the temperatures drop like 30 degrees. You had rain and it started freezing. Like, it was a disaster. It took us 9 hours to get from Dallas back home, which is a 3-hour drive, 3.5. And we had friends that stayed in traffic on Interstate 20 between, here and Dallas, for 2 days they were hung in their cars.
Yeah.
Bad deal. Mm-hmm. What year was that?
13.
Was it that long ago?
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I remember that.
But I mean, when it gets over there, when that temperature goes from here to here, it gets bad, and those people can't drive worth a shit.
They're not accustomed to that, man. Those roads, highways, and byways. I get nervous driving in the middle of the summer up those big ramps, and I have to close my eyes literally. And it's like, my God, how much higher are we going to go? Try taking the express ramp on the North Dallas Tollway or on the George Bush or something like that going through Dallas. I'm going to freaking vomit. It's so high up there. And these people
parachute off the one on the George Bush.
Oh, Jesus. And these people are, 635. These people are absolute lunatics driving
85, 90. Yeah.
They don't care. And I'm just a small time loser from Florida that's just trying to get from A to B. And you really got to wash your ass. We're driving through Dallas, but I think the situation will be okay for the game. And obviously, the brutal conditions in Miami, the 50 degrees. I hope the fans can handle that down there. And we're going to have some good football next 2 nights. The SEC basketball is raging, and then the NFL playoffs. So I'm going to be in Biloxi at the Beau Rivage, losing all my money on the football games there. The NFL wildcard weekend, Super Wildcard weekend, guys. 5 games, 5. How do you see that?
Man, I don't know. I think that, who does Denver play?
The Denver Broncos play. They're 9-point dogs in Buffalo, and the weather's going to be pretty rough. It's going to be pretty rough in Buffalo.
The only thing that's going in Denver's favor is that they do play, in bad weather situations, in throughout their history. And I don't know if it's been that cold there lately, but Buffalo's going to be hard to beat in Buffalo.
Buffalo is a brutal place. Orchard Park, South Buffalo. I have a good friend who was born and raised in Buffalo. It's a funny city. You can get half an inch of snow where downtown is in the northern part of Buffalo, New York. No big deal. Go, 20 miles south to Orchard Park where the stadium is, and you're under 3 feet. Right. It's just coming off the lake differently. And for some reason, the owner, Pagula, is putting the new stadium right there next to the old dump. And it snows like hell. But up there in the north part of Buffalo, it's like Pittsburgh. It's nothing you can't get over. South Buffalo is Siberia, and that's where they're putting the new stadium. The hell if I know why. But Buffalo's going to be rough. I don't think there's any chance Denver covers that number. That's a big number. It is. Bo Nix is, if it wasn't for Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix is your rookie of the year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But he has been outstanding under Sean Payton. Great job by Sean Payton. Denver's in the playoffs. It's just too bad they got to go there. And then we've got, after that game, the Chargers and the Texans, and that game's in Houston. And that's going to be the kind of game where you're sitting there watching it, and they're going, by halftime, you're saying, all right, it's freaking 10-6. When is the next game?
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it's going to go.
And
The
I think
Chargers
the
will put you.
Texans are going to do that.
Yeah, they'll put you to sleep literally,
Chargers.
and the Texans will put you to sleep. And then we got Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and that's another blowout, I think. So
Yeah. Pittsburgh's going to get hammered. But, my deal with the Texans this year is that you watch, QB Stroud, like, he has regressed from last year. Like,
Well,
it's unbelievable from one year to the next. Like,
they don't protect him, JD.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was in the conversation for being NFL Player of the Year last year.
defensive
Well-
coordinators got tape on him too.
Well, that's true.
You give a DC in the NFL tape on a guy, they make him look pedestrian.
Yeah.
I think that's what sometimes.
He doesn't do a lot of what Lamar Jackson does, where he is mobile, but he is going to throw the football, and they're going to contain him. He's in trouble. He's not Lamar. He's not some of those other athletic quarterbacks.
But Chance, you say Lamar, and he could easily be MVP. He could easily be Our Lady. He could easily be MVP again, but
Yeah,
his playoff record, I think, is it's like 2-6 or something.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. Like you say, these D coordinators,
Yeah.
they just scheme it up. They make him They make him work out of the pocket. They stuff the run. And when you force him to throw, even though he's throwing for 4,000 yards, it seems like every year, when he gets to the playoffs, it just goes to hell. You tell me why. I don't know.
JC.
it might help having Derrick Henry this year though. On as far as
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You've got one QB to win one game. You've got Josh Allen. You've got Lamar. You got Joe Burrow. Who you take?
Patrick Mahomes.
I didn't say Mahomes. I didn't put him into question.
I know you did. Well, if I had one
You
guy.
had one game to win.
Yeah. Well,
Who do you
listen, JD. You're wearing the Tigers hat. I mean, you're going to make me say Burrow.
Well, I'm
But
doing this
I'm
for a
on
reason.
your ass,
doing
JD.
this
I'm
for
on
a
your
reason.
ass. Huh?
I'm doing this for a reason because Mike's ass isn't here tonight, and I've had to listen to his shit for
But he
several
was probably
weeks.
one of the ones playing golf with him that took the other guy.
It could have been.
Yeah. So
What did I do?
Mike said, so JD gave a list of 5 or 6 quarterbacks in Burrow, or a total of 5 or 6. Anyway, JD's point was he'd give him Burrow all day long because of him being a winner and what he's doing and the elite company he's in. And Mike, throws out all the other quarterbacks. And he said, I talked to 5 guys on the golf course today, and every one of them picked everybody but Burrow.
They would.
So-
of course they would.
So I just said JC was probably one of the guys on the golf course. He was
Yeah. I think, JD, I mean, all of them are great choices. I honestly, though, think that Josh Allen could do it. I mean, he can win a game by himself, just like these other guys. But Josh Allen could be the MVP this year as well. And I think the only team that's going to have a shot, a puncher's chance at Kansas City is Buffalo. I don't think it's Baltimore, and I sure as hell don't think it's Denver or Pittsburgh. It is definitely not Houston. The Chargers are a weird team because they can muck up a game and they can muddy it up with defense and running. If they're healthy, the Chargers can match up with anybody, but I don't think Herbert's quite there yet. So I'm going to say Josh Allen is the only guy that can beat Patrick Mahomes in the Arrowhead and get Buffalo. I mean, how great would it be if we could have Buffalo and Detroit in the Super Bowl?
Oh, it'd be awesome.
I mean, this is what America's praying for, right? This is what America wants. Even though I'm a Rams fan, I think that the Detroit Lions in the NFC are your pick there. They're going to get a little rest this weekend, not have to play a game. If they can get over Dan Campbell and his crazy decision-making in fourth down situations and so forth, and if they can get through that first game in the playoffs, which will be, they have little jitters and that, they could end up playing the Rams who can score. But if they get to the finals against the Eagles or somebody like Tampa Bay, it's Detroit in the NFC. So it's Detroit or either Buffalo or KC is what I'm thinking.
Do you know why Detroit's not going to win it all? It's because of Dan Campbell, but why?
Well, Dan Campbell sometimes forgets basic math.
Why
and
do you think? Hang on. Why does he forget basic math?
Well, they play different. They do
He's
everything.
an Aggie.
I knew
Okay.
that. I knew
They've
that.
never won shit.
Shit. And Aggie.
Texas
freaking
ain't
Aggie.
more.
I mean, I hate it. I like Dan Campbell. He's a great dude, and he's an awesome coach, but never won anything.
Well, listen, I'd say this for Dan Campbell. You know, this guy started at 1-7. I think it was a terrible start, but they were in games that they should have won, and then everybody saw how the Lions always lose a game. And then all of a sudden, they won 2 years ago, I think it was. They won something like 8 straight games. They finished the year 9-8. And then last year they got to the NFC Championship game, lost to the 49ers with a 17-point lead.
Yeah.
And then this year they're going to be at home throughout as long as they're winning. The Super Bowl path runs through the Motor City. I would love to go to Ford Field. Listen, I've been to 2 Lions games this year. I went to see them beat the hell out of Dallas, and I saw them get lucky against the Texans in Houston. And the fan base, you talk about, okay, it's the Steelers, it's the Packers in terms of traveling fan base, Kansas City, and Detroit. Those 4 fan bases are unmatched in their – it's kind of like I always tell everybody in college football, nobody travels like LSU. And that doesn't include just football. LSU fans go to baseball, they go to gymnastics, they go to freaking softball, tennis. It doesn't matter what LSU does. The LSU fans travel, and nobody travels like that fan base. Nobody travels like Detroit other than Green Bay, Pittsburgh, and Kansas City. Those are your 3. And Buffalo. Don't let me forget about Buffalo.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bill fans are crazy. They're the mafia. It's this, it's that.
Nobody circles the wagons.
Yeah, but Detroit, I went to 2 games. They were the road team both times. They had fans everywhere in Dallas, everywhere in Houston. They were loud. They were very friendly, but they were massive. I mean, there were people everywhere. So Detroit's got a lot of momentum. I'm really kind of thinking if my stupid Rams don't win it, I'll pull for the damn Lions. Why not?
Get your pride. Yeah. All right. So we got I'm taking Texas and I'm taking Notre Dame.
Okay.
EFP.
I'm going Texas against Ohio State because I think Texas's D line is really good, and not that Ohio State hasn't played anybody like them, but they've had 2 really good games. They're going to come back down a little notch. Texas DBs are for real.
They're
They
good.
haven't played anybody with DBs like Texas and safeties. It's going to be different. If Judkins is going to have to be the difference maker for Ohio State to win. My opinion.
Yeah.
I'm taking Texas to win points, all that.
Jade Barron.
Thorpe
Texas.
Award winner right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Love that.
So
I guess I hate to say this, and I really sound like an ass, but it's going to be an all Big Ten final with these 2 shitty teams.
That's your opinion, and you're welcome.
I think Penn State just has a few more athletes, and I think Ohio State, if they protect Howard, is unstoppable. But JD, if Texas can D up and get that crowd going, and if they're close in the second half, and Quinn Ewers has time to throw the ball, Sark is better than anybody drawing up plays. In my opinion.
So we don't have anybody from Florida on without telling the Spurrier story. So everybody that comes on has got to tell one. Berlin told one the last time he was on about, the pin, salute the flag. And so we've got them all. We need you to tell one. I know you told us one about the party barge. I don't know if you can tell that.
Well, I was very close to the family. I dated Lisa for a bunch of years, and she and I were on a boat with my 2 sons, her 2 sons. We were on a pontoon boat in the Matanzas Inlet, which is an intercoastal waterway in St. Augustine, Florida. Steve has a lot of property in St. Augustine Beach and the Crescent Beach area. We're there as well. I am. And this was about 21 years ago, maybe 20, before he started at South Carolina. And we rented a pontoon boat, and we got on the boat to just enjoy the day. Nobody on that boat knew how to drive a boat. He didn't know how to drive a boat. I didn't know how to drive a boat. Our kids were very young. And Lisa sure as hell didn't know how to drive a boat. Turns out that I was elected the boat driver. So somehow we got this thing out. Actually, I think Coach drove it as we started out. As the day went on, make a long story short, we were getting hungry and we wanted to go eat somewhere. So we were looking for a restaurant on the side of the river. And we found this, what we thought was a restaurant, that turned out to be a fishing camp. And people were leaning over the rails, and we couldn't tell what they were doing. But as we got closer, they were fishing. And I figured, well, hell, if they're all fishing over there, there's got to be somewhere they can, cook it up, or there's got to be a restaurant in there. So I turn this thing, I take over. We're all drinking beer. Bad idea. And I turn the boat somehow, get it to face toward going to, well, there was no dock. There was nowhere to park the damn thing. And about 50 feet out, we realized that this is not a good idea, and we didn't have anywhere to put the damn thing, and this was not a restaurant. So we were chugging right at the dock. The barnacles were coming off the dock, and it was a big dock, and everybody was telling us to stop. And he says, Johnny, stop the boat, stop the boat. I didn't know how to stop this fucking boat. It was like, Coach, where are the brakes? And I start mashing my foot on the floor thinking there's a stinking brake there, knowing that it's this. And I didn't do it right, and we went flush into one of the legs of the dock. He was going out there to try to brace our impact, and he went overboard. The thing capsized like this, and we're rocking like this, and the wake starts hitting because some damn guy went flying by, and the people were freaking out up on there, and we lost Coach. He went underwater. And we're spinning like this, and it's chaos. Kids are like falling overboard, and I thought he was gone. I thought he was under the boat, got chewed up by the motor. Turns out 20 yards behind the boat where we were spinning around, out of control, he comes flying out of the water with his hat like this, and he goes, hey, everybody, I didn't lose my wallet. Turns out he busted his leg up pretty good. The boat had about $6,000 worth of damage. He took care of that, and I took care of lunch. And somehow we got the damn thing back to Devil's Elbow. It didn't sink, and it was a disaster. But we did not get hurt. And if he goes down and he dies, I go to jail for manslaughter, DUI. And he never coaches. This is a true story. Right. He never coaches the South Carolina Gamecocks. This was right before he was going there, and we never would have heard of Marcus Lattimore. We never would have heard of Jadeveon Clowney. We never would have heard of Sidney Rice. And the Gamecocks never would have won 11 games 2 years in a row and gone to the SEC championship game against Auburn. None of that would have happened, and I would have gone to jail. And that was a hell of a day.
You would have been infamous for all the wrong reasons.
Say that again?
I said you would have been infamous for all the wrong reasons.
All the wrong reasons. But luckily, nobody got hurt. Kids were fine, but we're pretty shaken up. We got back to Devil's Elbow. Long story short is I just basically called it a day. Said, we're just going to go back and eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And he can go ahead and pay for the stupid boat. And we learned that I'm not a boat driver.
Right.
He's not a boat driver. And make sure that if you ever go on a boat and start drinking beer, you have a boat driver.
The captain, the boat captain.
Did you ever go back out on another one?
I don't think so. See, he had to go back to D.C. The family was still up in Washington because he had left the Redskins, and they were waiting on Scotty to graduate from high school. So Jerry was still up there, and they were all waiting for Scotty to get out of high school. And they then came down south after Scotty graduated from high school. So then he was off to South Carolina.
Lisa,
crazy.
Go ahead.
That's one of my best stories. I got a lot of good ones. He yelled at me for drinking all his Coors Light one night. I'll never forget that. He had it in the refrigerator on the bottom floor, and he was gone. A week later, he comes back and notices it's all gone, and yells at Lisa, and Johnny drank it all. Oh, that's easy. Johnny drank
He rolled you right under the bus.
They did. They had no problem with it. So I had to go buy some Coors Light.
That's awesome.
That's good times. We're still friends. I see him out here on the golf course quite a bit, and he's got a beautiful little restaurant here in town that they use his name for, and he gets to host people. And coaches come in town to go to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. It's a great place to eat. Very good menu, good chefs, great organization. A lot of who's who Gators show up, and Gator people love going there to assimilate and he has his awards night for the coach the new coming coach of the year type of thing. I think Josh Heupel won it one year, and then Jamie Chadwell won it another year. So he has a lot of events at this restaurant. He does great there. The family just maintains that, and they root for the Gators on Saturday. And, the second half of the year was making everybody smile. So that's what he's doing right now, and that's how it's going. And, I see them frequently. Yeah.
Well, good. Well, JC, we want you to come play golf with us, man. Come up here and try. And, I think we'll have a good time. We'll put you up somewhere. So
Gotta get a little warmer though for me up there in the booth, brother.
It's too cold right now.
Yeah, it's too cold. I get up there. I'll be coming to Dallas, Texas in the March time period. Then in April, I'll be in Philadelphia, Mississippi at the casino playing golf there.
The Blue Moon.
And the Golden Moon and the Silver Star. You guys can enter that tournament too. It's an open. It's called the Mississippi Masters. I won it in 2021. And there's generally between 80 and 100 golfers. It's wide open to anybody who wants to play. It's not expensive, and I'll get you guys the email.
Yeah.
And listen, it's a little drive from Ruston. No big deal. You're there in a couple hours.
Now, honestly, do you think we need to enter that?
I think you'd have a time of your life. And you get to meet these guys from Baton Rouge. You get to meet these Louisianans from down in Baton Rouge that I know you would enjoy. They are fun. And it's really a group of guys like yourselves and like me who just want to go and congregate and enjoy ourselves in a casino golf resort of sorts. And the golf courses are great. It's at the Pearl River Resorts, the Dancing Rabbit in Philadelphia, Mississippi, which is an hour and 20 minutes east of the airport and east of Jackson. So it's not hard to get to. And, it is for us in Florida, but for you guys, it shouldn't be that big a deal to get to.
No, it's not far. I've won money at the casino before.
Yeah, so I think you would enjoy it, and I'll get you the info for April. It's April 4th and 5th, I think, first week.
Cool.
All right.
Maybe Chance can come on and hit one of those shots over the bunker like he did and we were playing.
I'm sure.
That was an awesome shot.
I'm sure.
So,
That was, the Dan Chance, the short game wizardry. I'm sure Mike is missing you guys. I hope Mike Pearson, we can get together again and do that. That was a great day, man.
Yeah, it really was. We thank you for that. And
yes, sir.
Thank you for being a friend of the show. We definitely want to have you back on.
All right. I'll be available. Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Good to have you.
We just
Peace.
Some winners too. Thanks, JC.
All right, guys.
All right.
Jumping off sides, would like to thank one of our presenting sponsors, Rotag Portable Toilet Services. That's yesterday's Meals on Wheels, one of the nation's largest oil-filled toilet providers. Give Rotag a call.
I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
Oh, Great American Pillow Fight coming at you.
Man, take me out. Somebody just turned the go switch on these suckers and people are moving a lot faster. Something's going on, and I ain't ready.